Stanford University.
Okay, so welcome, Stanford CS193P, fall 2010 final exam period. The final exams are just presentations of what students have been working on for the last 3 weeks. So we're going to try and do this in an orderly fashion, and let's just jump right in.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Austin Lyon, and I will be talking about my application Map It, which is a graphical, location-based way to interact with your contacts and friends. So I'm a grad student here at Stanford, but I was also undergrad. And the idea stemmed off the fact that when all my friends graduated, I couldn't keep track of where they were. So say I had an interview in San Francisco, and I wanted to see who was nearby, have dinner with somebody after my interview. So my first step, I would look in Facebook. But some people don't have their address or their phone number listed in Facebook, so I would find out who's in San Francisco and go to my contacts. Well, I don't know if they're exactly next to where I want to be, so I'm going to map out their address in Maps, and then sort of go back and contact them with text messaging, calling them, or sending them an email. But that person is busy, so I'll go back to square one. The solution to this is a graphical way to interact with your contacts. So presenting your friends pictures and grouped in locations. So if you zoom out, you'll be able to contact via text and email people based on a greater location and specific locations. We'll do a quick demo. Now this is the limited edition version of Map It, meaning limited feature edition, in that I broke some of these things trying to put it on my phone. But it's enough to get the idea across, so bear with me here. So this is your map. Green areas are grouped locations. So this callout displays pictures that I've taken off of Facebook of my contacts, and ostensibly would be able to text them. As you zoom in, these locations change based on Google Maps political, like regional codes, so zip code, county, state, et cetera. And as you zoom in here, you'll see things get more specific, displaying less people. And eventually, you can go into individual people. You can import your contacts through Google, and Google geocodes them, puts them on the map. And connecting to Facebook allows you to bring in pictures of contacts that you don't have already in your address book. And you can also view people's information through a table view. So directions to go in this is better ways to interact with people besides just texting them. Maybe connecting some features of Facebook, like check-ins. Retrieving address books from other locations, such as, there's a company called Plaxo that does contact syncing. Some better sort of syncing logic. What I have now is just sort of copying things directly over, but being able to come from different sources would be nice. And who knows where I'll go from there. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I'll probably have an updated feature video on YouTube. You guys can check it out later. And thanks a lot.
All right, so I'm David Cordova. My app is Language Learner. The basic idea was the best way to learn a language, obviously, is with other people. You practice face-to-face. You are able to get that experience that you can't get from a book or Rosetta Stone or whatever. So there was no real easy way to get this experience when you don't have anyone around you. So I tried to use the iPhone's Game Center functionality to connect two people that are trying to learn the same language and replicate this experience at home. Okay, so who it's for, it's people learning a second language. And in addition to the Game Center connection, I also have simple flashcards that you can use to remember your vocab. Okay, so we just switch to the demo. Okay, so here's the functionality. First, let's check out the flashcards. As you can see, I've already added dog. We can add more. Let's add water. It also has an auto-translate feature, but if you don't like that, you can edit it yourself. And then you can view your flashcards and flip them to get the other view. But the real functionality here is the multiplayer. Let's see. There are two basic game modes. One is scenarios where you describe, where player one would describe what's on their screen in the language that they're both trying to learn, while the other player has to try to figure out what they're describing based on the description. So like, player one would describe that picture in Spanish. I'd select that one. And it keeps track of how many you've gotten correct so far. So let's quit out of that. There's also a free play mode where you can just go in and talk to the other person about whatever you want for as long as you'd like. Let's look at with that. And of course, this would all have voice functionality, but one of these devices does not have that built in right now. Okay. Yeah, that's about it. You can also just edit flashcards. And here's where you set the language. There's only a few built in right now, but it's really simple to add more. And you also have the functionality or the ability to edit your flashcards however you'd like. And that's about it.
My name's Gabriel, and I developed an app for a local coffee shop at Mountain View called Red Rock Cafe. And so just the intro, it's privately owned. There's a unique culture there. There's a lot of locals and regulars. There's some bands and community events and movie screenings there. So here's the home screen. Basically, there's a playback option where it plays music from the artists that have visited Red Rock. It can launch the directions app with your current location. It grabs your current location and launches it. There's some fun animations with the coffee beans, rotating them, switching them around. So here's what happens when you click on the link. It pops the map app up and automatically puts your current location in. I chose this because I feel like users are very familiar with the map interface rather than making one myself. Also, moving on to the coffee menu. So this displays the coffees at the cafe in a table view, ordered most recently released at the top. And there's a description for each of the coffees in a scrollable view and provides a little information about where the coffee is from and some other information. And next, there's a calendar of events with the closest events to today at the top. And when you click into it, it gives an event description. All this is pulled in real time from the server, and so it refreshes each time you log in. And it's a web view, and it can display hyperlinks. And if there's an email contact in the description, it will automatically launch your email app too. Some future additions are maybe an online ordering and payment system that estimates your arrival time, so your coffee's ready when you get there. Another thing is a jukebox request system. So they have a playlist running, and you can browse the songs and request songs while you're sitting there. But yeah, obviously that takes more server stuff, so that will probably be phase 2. So since I have a little more time, I'll give a demonstration. So here it is. So some of the simple animations are like that. Some rotating coffee beans. When you click on one of the events, you can go into the web view. I think it takes some time to load. There's a browser back and a forward button when there is something to go back and forward to. Let's see if we can get some of that. Let's see. And I guess, oh, there it is at the bottom. Let's see, there it is. So you can go back, forward, and some coffee stuff. You can just scroll in and navigate. Yeah. And that's about it. All right. Thanks.
So my name is Chris Meal, and for my project, I made a game called Mecha Miner. Before I talk about that, though, I want to talk about a game that I've already made called Geomon. It's already out in the App Store and everything, and that's because Mecha Miner is sort of like a sister game to Geomon. They exist in the same game universe. So Geomon is this game where it lets you find monsters around you and battle them and capture them and train them and everything. And it uses your phone's real-world context to figure out what monsters are around you, so like the time of day and the weather, whether or not you're in the city or the forest, that sort of thing. Kind of gives you this radar that shows what's around you. And for Mecha Miner, I wanted to kind of build on the same thing, but instead of using the radar, I wanted to have an actual game world that you move around in. And then I figured just for the heck of it, I'd also make it so you have robots with monsters too. So the premise is that you're this little robot and you go into a mine and you mine for crystals so you can get money and buy new parts, and you fight monsters. And as you go deeper and deeper into the mine, you can find better crystals, but then the monsters get harder to beat. The idea is that there will be lots of items in both games that don't really do anything in their game, but in the other game, they're really useful. For example, in the mining game, you can get these crystals that don't do much other than you can sell them for money and get parts. But then in Geomon, they're incredibly useful because they're the tools that you use to capture new monsters. And then in Geomon, you might find like batteries and gears that are useful for robots, but not so useful for the monsters. So that's kind of a quick overview of what it is. I'm going to switch to the demo real quick. So here you can see my little robot. I can move him around. There, so there's my robot, and I can move him around and go up to one of these crystals and drop a little. Yeah, I got a crystal. And then I can also kind of run around here. These little red dots that are kind of floating around, those are all monsters, so I can go up and try to fight one. Let's fight this guy. I got a menu and I can use like items and stuff to heal myself. I have abilities that I can use on him. He's got his own set of attacks. He's kind of strong though, so I'm gonna run away. And then I can go into my own menu where I can sort of inspect, like, these are all the parts on my drone. I got like, can see what all the different parts are, the abilities and stuff. I can go and check out like all the things that I have in my inventory. Can look at some of the spare parts. Let's say maybe I want to use a solar panel cell instead of the other one that I have. I can equip that. And then I have a map of where I am in the mine. It's pretty much all of it right now. Obviously, it has a long way to go before it's a full game, but it's kind of a good proof of concept. Let's close that so the music goes away. Yeah, it's probably I'm going to add just sort of more different levels to the mine for the moment. It's just kind of, you're stuck on the one. But yeah, thanks.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. For my final CS193 project, I decided to make a game. I guess ideally, I would have liked to make something useful and functional that would have added value to this world, but I guess my app ends up kind of taking productivity from this world. But hopefully it will be fun nonetheless. It's called Baller. The concept is super simple. You just control this nano-sized spaceship, and there's molecules bouncing on the screen. And what you have to do is basically avoid those molecules, because if you crash into them, you die. So it's pretty simple when there's only a few around, but over time, more molecules get added, and it gets pretty tricky. Your expected lifespan as a nano spaceship captain is only about 30 to 60 seconds. So it's a great excuse to procrastinate. So I'll just go into the demonstration. So you use touch to control your ship, and you just have to start. And with one or two molecules, it's pretty simple. every 5 seconds, a new molecule gets added. And once you get to like 5 or 6, this is when it gets pretty tricky. As you can see here, I'm struggling even on the simulator. And to help you out, because it gets in really, really hard, to help you out, I introduced power-ups. So here we'll see a power-up appear. There's 3. This one slows down time, but it only delays the inevitable because it only works for 10 seconds. And eventually, the balls speed up again and gets really hard again. Yeah, so that's basically the game itself. I think once I have some time during winter, I'll probably add this to the App Store, and hopefully you guys will check it out. Hopefully it'll be fun enough that you guys will forgive me for taking productivity away. Thanks a lot.
Hey guys, my name is Stuart McGregor Dennis, and I have built an app for the solar car project. And to spend a little bit of time explaining just a little bit about it, and then I'm going to dive right into a demo. So firstly, you hear a lot about electric vehicles and how we have the rise of electric cars, but no one really talks about the rise of the software car. 30 years ago, there was absolutely no software in cars. In a typical premium car today, there's 10 million lines of code. So already we have intelligent cars, and it doesn't necessarily take someone too much clever than sort of like an intelligent car and a smartphone to realize that we could combine the two and have a better driving experience. So basically, how is this app going to improve the driving experience? Basically, in 2 ways. So or in 3 ways. One is through actually giving reminders while you're actually driving. So you can say, okay, when I get to this location, I'd like to be reminded of this fact. Like maybe I should tilt the solar panels in a certain way just to increase my driving. And also, you can set reminders for certain times. The second is dynamic feedback while you're actually driving. So this taps into 2 things. 1, the CAN messages on the car, and 2, would actually be the inbuilt functionality in the phone. And then 3 would be data analysis afterwards. So I'm going to launch into a demo now. So basically, I mentioned the CAN, or I'll start with the feedback. So in terms of setting reminders, so you can go here, and I use like an NS date picker and also UI notifications. So you can set specific, it's basically like an alarm, but it will allow you to set specific things to be reminded of while you're actually driving. Then there's the dynamic feedback mechanism. So it integrates with, I talked about the CAN messages before. And basically, the solar car sends its state around the car in something called CAN messages. So it's like, I have this battery voltage, I'm traveling at this speed. And so what we do is we send that across the Wi-Fi to the iPhone, store it in core data, and then present it. And you can see here that sort of like, this is simulated, but it has like minimum battery voltage and certain other things. You can also check sort of the batteries, and you can see like how they're doing. Then you can also see like a dynamic generated graph of the solar panel array and how much charge is being drawn from there. So that's sort of part of the feedback. But then there's also building into the inbuilt functionality within the iPhone. So one of the crucial things on the solar car is driving it straight and not tilting. So one of the things it does, we use a motion checker in order to basically, and what this does is it moves up and down and also changes the value based on how much you're rotating the phone. So once it's stationary in the car, basically it'll give you feedback on how much you're rotating. So the third thing that I talked about was actually sort of data afterwards. So what you can do in the main thing is you can sort of, so you can set which driver, who your driver is, and then you can also start recording the data in the map view controller. So I combine the map kit with core location, and then at each point it says Stuart drove from here to here. So what you do is you just hit record car path, then it starts recording your path as you're going along. And then later on you can go back and statistically analyze that. So just 3 things. 1 is setting reminders beforehand, 2, feedback during, and 3, feedback afterwards. I'm Stuart McGregor Dennis. This is Solar Car Project. Thank you very much.
Hello everybody, my name is Tony Jin, and my application is called M-Track, and basically it's a financial tracker which allows you to track how your money flows in and out of your pocket, because I tend to spend money too much, and I just found I needed to track my expenses. So the basic premise is that you can record all your transactions, and also the main feature is that you can view all these transactions graphically in a variety of different formats, so you can like track how your expenses go in and out. So you can record your transactions. You can select categories for how you want to categorize this transaction. And then you can associate this transaction with one of your contacts in your address book. So you can view these transactions in a list format from most recent. You can view them in a map, so you can map out where your transactions occur. And then you can also view them in a calendar. And there's also functionality of viewing it in a graph as well. So in each of these formats, you can view the details of each transaction through a detailed page, and also you can graph transactions. So future enhancements include adding different accounts, so you can have different people on the same phone. You can also, I'd like to display transactions by category, and also attach different like images. For example, if you want to take a picture of a check and attach it to the transaction as well. So I'm gonna go to a demo. All right, so here's a demo. You can, let's say, I want to get money. And I say get $100, and it's going to be cash, and let's say Lord Voldemort paid me for services rendered. Okay, I'm going to save this transaction. So you save the transaction, and then you can view it in a list format. So this is the most just happened. You view it in a map. You can see I was just testing it earlier, but these are transactions near the. So it's not entirely accurate to save battery life, but here's a map. And then you can also view in the calendar, so this just happened just now. And finally, you can graph it. So it's kind of like, the graph's kind of ghetto because it's scaled by time, but yeah, that's basically it. So hopefully this will allow you to better track your expenses and save money. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, my name is Ari Evans, and for my final project, I made the Less Than 3 iPhone app. So, what is Less Than 3? Less Than 3 is a web community, and it's a futuristic e-magazine. We cover electronic dance music, and what that means is we deliver content through track and album reviews or interviews, event coverage, basically any other information that's industry related that people might be interested in knowing. So here's what the site looks like now. This is the front page. You can see that there's like this featured area. There's songs embedded within each article. This is what the individual article looks like. You can see that there's a title, there's the date, there's other information relevant to the post in addition to an image, an embedded song that you can add to your playlist, or you can play it right away with the play button. And there's also the article text. At the bottom of the screen, you can see that there's this persistent player that is basically there the whole time while you're navigating around the site. So there's this idea of the music is always playing. So this shows you a picture of your playlist expanded. So you can see that there's songs in there. So enough about the website. What was this project? Basically, the idea is to create a mobile version of that site that is native to the iPhone and really works well in the mobile space. So what that means is using effective use of space, which is often very difficult, especially given the vast amount of information that we have to display for every post. And then again, this music is always playing experience was probably the most important thing that we needed in addition to the playlist functionality. So I'll show you a demo.
What I showed in the presentation. You can see when the app loads up, you automatically have a track to listen to. You can click play. So listen to this song. I'm just going to pause this so you can hear me. You can click on posts, which is the only thing working right now. Get to the post view. You can scroll down in the list. Very nice use of space. It's the image for the post along with the title for the post. If you get to the bottom and you want to load more, you can click this button. More post load. If I want to read an individual post, I can click on one. Brings up the individual post page where we have the songs for this post embedded. I can start listening to one right away if I click on the entry, or I can add one to my playlist if I click on the Add to Playlist button. I can scroll through below and look at the article text, read it if I like, or if I don't want to, I can just have added the songs and that's it. If I want to look at my playlist, I can click this button, see all the tracks that are on here. I can rearrange them. I can delete them, or I can play them. If I want to fast forward through the list of playing songs, I can just right swipe or backward swipe. And if I want to fast forward through posts, I can right swipe on the posts or left swipe on the post to go back. And that's it.
So, future plans. Basically, I want to create a more detailed player page with a progress bar so you can actually seek within tracks. Also, the creation of the rest of the screens that you saw on the launch page, which is the events page, the profile, settings, and merchandise, and maybe other surprises that I have yet to think up. And then, of course, adding the features so that when the app goes into the background, the music doesn't stop playing, so that you can use this instead of your iPod or instead of Pandora. And that's it. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Bertrand Schneider, and I'm going to present to you my time travel application. So for the final project of this class, I was interested in building a mobile learning application, and I was especially interested in making people more aware of which kind of historical facts happen around them. So the basic view of my application is a map where I've added another layer of information, which is time. So by moving the slider on the bottom of the screen, you can travel through time and see which kind of events happened where and when on the campus. You can then select an event, and it's going to show you more information about it, which is basically a text and a picture. So right now I'm using some fake data. But I'm part of a research group interested in this kind of question, like how people learn based on their location. And we are currently collecting some interesting stories about the Stanford campus to feed the application. Also, based on the location of the story that you selected, the application is going to propose some other interesting stories that happen at the same spot. So that's another way to explore your location. You can also share a story. It's not going to work here because it's in the simulator, but it's going to launch the email application on your iPhone. So you can send an email with the story to someone you want. So that's one way to explore your location. Another way is to use these augmented reality functionalities that I've implemented. So if you select this option and you have the application installed on your device, you can actually use your camera and point it at a building, and it's going to show you which kind of stories happened at this location. You can then select a label, and it's going to show you the same kind of information as before, like the text of the story and the picture. Then, if you don't know where to begin, you also have this option where you can see which stories are popular. So it's ranked based on the number of times that a story has been viewed. Then you can select it and view it. Also, it's supposed to be a collaborative application, so people are supposed to be able to contribute. So you can also add stories. It's very simple. You just point a location on the map. It's going to drop a pin, and then you can fill a form and detail the story you want to tell. So for example, you want to document the Stanford victory against whatever team. It's kind of tedious to type everything with the finger, so you also have a web form to add stories to the database. I'm also doing some reverse geolocation. So based on your location, MapKit is going to try to find your location. So that's the address on the bottom. You can also add a picture either from your library or using your camera. Then if you save it and you go back to the map, it's going to show up based on the location and the time you specified. Finally, there are a few settings that you can change. It makes more sense to use the user location to display stories around him or her. But you can disable it. You can also specify the radius for the augmented reality view. So for example, if you are in a very interesting place, but there are a lot of stories and the radius is very large, your screen is going to be cluttered with a lot of different labels. So it's a way to filter the kind of information you want. That's it. Thanks for your attention.
Hi, my name is Divij, and for my final project, I came up with a newsfeed reader, which is powered by Google News. And so, when I was thinking about this project, I thought, why have another RSS feed reader? I think there's so many of those already available on the App Store. There's Pulse, there's Flipboard. But I think one of the reasons was that I'm such a big fan of Google News Search and Google Blog Search, and I wanted to combine both of those things together, kind of have content from both of those, and really come up with a more diverse and comprehensive news reading experience for the end user. So some of the key features I want to do was, obviously get news stories from Google News and from Google Blog Search. Allow users to have their own custom feeds, just like you have in any feed reader. And another main key feature was use the map view or the iPad's geolocation to kind of get stories which are very local to where you are. So imagine you get off a plane and you want to know what's happening in the city you're in. The iPad's GPS can just reverse geocode your location and then give you the stories for where you are. And then just be able to bookmark articles and then share them with your Twitter followers or Facebook friends. So now I'm just going to switch to a demo. OK, so this is the main page. You can see you have the first page, which is world news. If you just flip over, you can get nation, business, science, technology, oops. And if you click on one of these links, it's just going to open up in a web view, and you can scroll down and just view it. You can close that. And so this is just a scroll view with horizontal scrolling, so it gives you the illusion of having multiple pages. And OK, so I mean, I can't really access the bottom, but that's basically like a newspaper format. And then there are two more options at the bottom. One is you can add custom feeds where you search for just put in a search query and you can get another layout. So if you search for Lakers, you just get another layout like this with all the stories regarding the Lakers. And the final thing is, again, the geolocation where you can get stories which are very local to where you are. So by default in the simulator, the default location is Santa Clara. And so if you just press the button, you would get, again, another layout with all the stories related to Santa Clara. So that's about it. Yeah, thanks.
So hey, iTunes Universe. My name is Clinton Buey, and I'm going to talk to you today about the application I've been working on for the past 3 weeks called Trade Profit. So my friend came to me about 2 months ago, and he said he had this great algorithm to predict stocks. And like everybody who has predictions, I said, yeah, I totally don't believe you. But then he showed me his data over the past 2 or 3 months of how he has not lost money in the stock market and by using his algorithm. And so then it piqued my interest because I'm making iPhone applications, and I figured a lot of people might want to know about this kind of stuff. So I did a little research, and I researched the Bloomberg, iTrade, and Stock Advisor applications. Bloomberg is probably the #1 application. It shows you information about the stock ticker portfolio, news, and everything. And iTrade basically is a stock simulation engine. And what it does is it allows you to simulate trades back and forth between the stock market in real time. And Stock Advisor is a really expensive $20 application, which gives you advice about stocks. But it's very expensive, and a lot of people will probably be straight away for the price. But there's not an application out there that has anything to do with prediction engine, meaning if you had a list of stocks that you're interested in, and you're interested in buying and selling, and you want to sell on the stock trade market, there isn't anything available for that. So just to give you a brief overview of the views of my application. So when you first open up the application, you have a view which gives you a list of the stocks in your portfolio. It gives you a view of your progress of how you're tracking your stocks as they're progressing over time. And there's also a settings menu which is based on in-app settings kit, which allows you to change your user settings, and it shows you how many trades you've done, and it also shows you how much money you have in your bank account as well. And this is part of the core of the application. So moving into the next view, you can view your tickers. And what you can do is you can click on Apple, or you can click on whatever company that you're interested in, and you can drill down and get more information about the information. And I plotted this using core plot and a UI view table view controllers. And so invariably, you can buy and sell and trade stocks within this view. You can view your recent search information for that particular ticker. And you're going to have a history of your transactions that are going back and forth between your stocks as well. So you can view your place in a rank, which is also part of GameKit. And what you can also do is you can also level up with particular trades. So like the whole purpose of the game is to be able to allow you to to reach a level of trade profit. So if you reach the level of trade profit, that means like other people can ask you for advice on how to buy and sell trade within this environment. Oh, sorry. And so finally, I just want to summarize that the application is basically a prediction engine. I actually don't want to show the prediction engine because I want this to be on iTunes because I don't want anybody to copy or anything like that. But like what it can do is it can predict like based on however many stocks that you have when you should buy, sell, and trade at any given point in time. And the target release date for this application is January of 2011. And I hope that you guys download the app. All right, that's it.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Hai. The app I worked on is called iCoral. It's a tool that allows you to access the machine calendar and the status of all the equipment in Stanford nanotechnology facility. The existing reservation management tool for all the equipment in SNF is called Coral. It can only run on any kind of desktops or laptops, but no cell phones or your mobile devices. So with this tool, you can check the status of the tool in all categories, and also you can make reservations and check the existing reservations on all tools. So what I did is I made an app which does the similar thing as Coral. With this app, you can access the status of all the equipment in the lab, and also you can set your you can set notifications to notify yourself when your reservation is coming or some other people's reservation is coming. So the tools are categorized into groups, and within each group you can you can look at different tools, and for each tool there's a customized view with the information like the status and reservations. This is the view of the reservation. And last but not least, you can make a notification for your reservations. And I like to do a little demo. So this is iCoral. So basically here you can see there are different groups of tools. So if we go into the BIM tools, we can see all kinds of tools within this group. And this is a customized view of this tool called Wraith. And you can see Wraith is normal right now. You can look at, if you click the name, you go to the web page for the tool. And also here's a reservation page. It's ordered according to the date. And for each reservation, you can set your own notification if you want. Moreover, you can make comments to your personal comments to this tool using here. Okay. Oh, no. Move down. Okay. So here's new comments I just made. And also you can access the recent tools and your favorite tools. And that's it.
Hi, I'm Justine, and for my final project, I created an application called Book Barter, which allows you to buy and sell textbooks from other students on campus. So I'm just going to run through a little demo of the application and how it works. So you log in with your username and password. And then it brings you to your profile page, which displays your name, your email address, your dorm, and your phone number. So say you want to go and add in a picture of yourself to your profile page. You go to Edit Profile. Then you click Change Picture, and this brings up the option to either take a picture or choose an existing picture from your iPhone library. So I'm going to choose an existing picture. And select that as my picture. Edit the size. OK, so now I have a picture. And I'm going to save changes, and it'll bring back to my profile. OK, so on your profile page, you have a list of the classes you're currently signed up for and a list of items you currently have for sale. So if you want to view what classes you're signed up for, you can go. And this will show you everything you're signed up for. And if you realize that there's a class that you are taking that isn't on this list, then you can go to the Add Classes button and search for the class. So Math 51, search for that, add it, and it gets added to your class list. OK, so say you're in the CS161 class, and you realize you should probably find out what the textbook is, because you have the final coming up. So you go click on CS161, view some course information. If there are multiple books, they'd be listed in the picker view. But that's the textbook, so you can view it. So say you want to buy this book. You can go over to the Buy Book tab right there. And then you can view the classes you're in and select the class you want to look for and search. And this is going to bring up a list of all the users on this application that are selling this book. So you want to buy the cheapest book. You select the top one. And you see that Aaron Johnson is selling the book. And for $15, you say, OK, you want to buy that book, except only if they're close to you on campus. So then you can view the seller's location on a map. And this will show you, if the seller's inputted their location, then it will show you on the map where their location is, and then you can find it. OK, so you decide you want to buy this book, but you don't have enough money, so you want to sell one of the books you currently have. So you go over to the Sell Book page, and you have say you have the psychology book, then you can search for that, select it, and fill out these fields and submit it. And then it's been added to your sale list. But if you think you made a mistake or want to go back and look at these lists, then you can go to your profile and bring up your items for sale. And these are all the books you're currently selling. And click on the psychology book, and that's the book you just put up for sale. Okay. And that's everything. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Brian, and this is my partner Akshay. Our app is called Kid Stuff, and it's an app for toddlers and preschoolers. So we wanted to make an app for little kids between the ages of 2 and 4. We wanted to help them with their logic, learning, spelling, math skills. We wanted to make an app like this because, first of all, children like playing with new technology. We can fit a lot of games on a small platform. This is a new learning environment for today's kids, and we couldn't really find anything like it in the App Store. So like I said, it's for improving thinking skills for kids between the ages of 2 and 4. It's meant to stimulate learning, logic, and memory. And there's also a parent interface, so the parent can monitor how well the kid is doing.
I'm going to be giving you a little demo. These are the screens. Basically, just the navigation of the app itself. And let's go to the game. We wanted to stick to the theme and have like simple UI gestures for the kid to use to navigate around this app. And this is screen number 1, which is just a hand. You just hold the screen. And so this is like the menu for choosing a game. And so we have 4 games right now, and this one is memory, spelling, shapes, and like addition, colors. So let's show you the memory game, for example. So this game is so all the player has to do is just drag these alphabets to the empty spaces, and well, it's just spelled new word, and the words just build themselves. So yeah, this is the shapes game. So what they have to do is just drag each shape to, and they can learn counting while they're at it. 1, 2. And just keeps increasing the number of shapes on the screen. We really haven't implemented too many shapes because it's just illustrating simple games. And the last game has to do with, so other than just matching the number, they have to match the colors because it's like green plus a little blue, which probably not this, but it's this. And so it helps them learn two things at once, for example. And okay, so do you want to demo the parent interface?
Okay, so this is the parent interface. Actually, we should show how you get to that from the app. Okay, so you get to the parent interface you can get to it from any screen in the app. So you click this in the top right corner, type in your parent password, and it lists all the children you have. Lists a table of levels completed. It has a description of the game. And the pie chart shows the percent of time that the child has spent on each type of game. And you can select the different games to view the different descriptions. And also there's a difficulty setting here. We haven't added the difficulty into the actual difficulty of the games, but the idea is there. And that updates the database. And you can add a new child. And go back. Okay, so as you saw in the demo, you can add a child, pick your child, choose a game, view the percent of time played, and the right table view is just a log of the levels completed. These are the SDK features we used. And we hope to make more games, some more levels, and some more flashy graphics. And that's it.
Hello everyone, my name is Guillaume Davot and I will present my blood pressure tracking application called Track My BP. So today, more than 1/4 of the adult population in the US has hypertension. And these people need to regularly measure their blood pressure levels with a blood pressure meter that displays the systolic and diastolic blood pressure as well as the pulse, as you can see on the picture. So the goal of my application is to allow these people to record their blood pressure readings and display information on their readings in two ways, so with a table and a graph display. So how does my app look like? When you first launch the application, you can see this welcome screen appear, and you are invited to create your profile. You can enter your information. For example, date of birth will bring up a UI date picker. When you have a list of profiles, you can select your profile in the list. Also create a new profile or modify or delete an existing profile. To record a new reading, you have this screen. So the text field will bring a number pad to make it easy to enter your numerical values. Also, you can select conditions attached to your readings. You can select at most one condition per group. For example, here I select resting, and if I select workout, resting will disappear. The first way to display your readings is a table mode. So all information you entered is displayed in the table cells. Notice the icons for the conditions on the right side, for example. Also, the range of your values are color encoded. If your values are in the normal range, they appear green, and if they're too low, they are purple, and too high, they are orange and red. And you can modify an existing reading, delete also. And the last way to display info is the graph mode that I will demo now. So this is the graph mode. As you can see, there are two graphs, one here for systolic and diastolic blood pressure, and one here for heart rate. You can see if your values are outside the normal range with the orange and purple zones. Also, you can zoom by selecting among 3 different scales: week, that will show the last week, month, and all readings. You can explore your data by panning, so it will move the graph. And finally, you can also display the conditions attached to a reading. If you click on a data point, the icons for the conditions will appear and then fade out, so that you can see when your readings have certain conditions. Well, I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, hi everyone. So my app is called YouVote, and it basically helps users get information on their congressman in their area. So the problem I was trying to solve is that currently we just had the midterm elections, but voter turnout is still pretty low, and it's especially low among the youth population. So we can see over the years, it's always been at around 25%, and it's actually gone down since 1974, despite huge increases in technology. And we feel like with the advance in technology we've had, there's no reason why more young people shouldn't be have more voter awareness and be getting out to vote a lot more than they actually do. And we feel like on the flip side, as I was saying, even though voter turnout's gone down, if you look at the people that use Facebook and the people that own iPhones, they're very much this same youth category, ages 18 to 34, the plurality of owners of iPhones. And 74% of young adults use Facebook to some degree. So what I tried to solve was how can we leverage the fact that so many young people are using Facebook and using iPhones to help them get more aware about politics and get out and vote more. So what I came up with was this app called YouVote. So YouVote allows users to access customized voter information right from their iPhone. So they don't have to go onto some website. They can just get it right from their iPhone, the same place they're doing all the other things. And it's very customized. So in the main screen, you just enter in your zip code, and the app's able to then pull your senators and your representative. So for example, I think for this I entered in Stanford's zip code 94305, and you get your 2 senators in Congress as well as your House of Representative person. By then clicking on those names, you can then get a profile of that senator or representative, which shows you just some general information, what state they're representing, the party, telephone number, age. But also then you have these 3 options. You can either look at their voting record, you can locate their office on a map, and you can just view their website. So you feel that one of the main problems why a lot of people aren't involved in, young people aren't involved in politics, they feel like they don't really know what's going on. They don't know how their politicians are voting on certain things. And this app kind of helps them get that information in a very easy manner. So as I said, first kind of where are they? We can see their office on a map using Google Maps API. And the other main API used is Project Vote, which basically can pull the voting record of any congressman currently in office. So for example, for Dianne Feinstein, if you clicked on voting record, it would bring up this table view, which shows clearly the different bills that they voted on and whether they voted up or down, indicated by the green up thumb and the red down thumb. By then clicking on one of the cells in that table view, you can then get more information on the bill, so what the title of the bill was and who the main sponsors were. And then from that view, you can either look at the full bill text if you want to get more information and dig deeper into what the actual legislation was about, Or more importantly, you can share that with Facebook. So if you're able to see that your senator or your congressman voted one way on a certain bill, you can let your friends on Facebook know. And that's kind of the main driver of this app, is that it's making politics social. So for example, with this, I choose an example. Scott Brown is not my congressman, but for example, if I clicked on that share with Facebook button, it would then update my Facebook status to say my congressman, and then the name of the congressman I was on, voted no on Healthcare Reconciliation Act legislation. So we feel like this allows users to be more active as well as just passive about politics, because they're able to give their own opinion or express how their own congressman voted on a certain issue. And we feel like that's the best way to get young people especially more involved in politics. So thank you for listening.
Hi, my name is Matt, and today I'm going to be showing you Sculptor. So Sculptor is just a 3D viewing tool. It lets you download 3D models from the web and manipulate them, change the texture and color. So there's a 3D view with OpenGL. You can use to pan around and check out the model. So you can browse the whole list of models that are available online. And then you can also search for favorites, mark favorites, and you can change the model color to see what it looks like in different colors. And then you can add notes and view info. And so now I'm just going to go straight into a demo just to show you how it works. Here's some more screenshots. All right, so here's the home page. You can basically just scroll around and choose a model you want to look at. And then you can rotate and zoom in and out. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right, so you can rotate around, zoom in and out. You can set the texture. So in theory, if there was an internet connection, there we go. Okay, so you can set the textures and pick one, check it out, see if it's okay. Select, and then it's rendered with that texture, and you can zoom in some more. You can also go back and just set it back to a plain color, maybe darker red. Then, of course, you can mark it as a favorite, and it will show up in your favorites. Oop, that's not the right one. Right? You can also go in here and type in some notes, whatever. And then you can also go and look at models that you viewed recently. And so that's pretty much it. Thanks.
So my app turns the iPhone into a goniometer, which is a device that measures the range of motion for patients undergoing physical therapy. A Stanford doctor wants to use my app because unlike mechanical and electrical goniometers already on the market, this app stores the measurements and graphs them, so the physician can track the patient's progress. So here are examples of a physician using the app to measure range of motion. So let's dive into the main feature of the app, which is the goniometer view. Let's pretend that we're measuring a shoulder abduction. So the physician will tap anywhere on the screen, and then a countdown plays, 3, 2, 1, when the physician places the iPhone on the patient's upper arm. And then when the physician is finished, he can tap anywhere on the screen or the app. The app detects when motion has stopped. And then the physician can see the measurements he's taken. So from the main screen, when we click on the settings, the user can declare whether they're a patient or a physician. And they can be a patient just using this device to measure their own and track their own range of motion. Or if they say they're a physician, they are presented with a list of their patients. And each patient has a list of joints, and each joint has a list of measurements. And when a measurement is tapped, the user is presented with 4 actions. So the user can view data, as I've shown you. The user can graph the data, and the user can email the data to himself. And if the tutorials mode is turned on, when the user taps take a message or take a measurement, the app presents a 2-second tutorial, a video clip, of where to place the device during the measurement. And the device, the app, knows whether to measure pitch, yaw, or roll, depending on which measurement type was selected. So the goniometer is a smart goniometer for 3 reasons. It measures when the device has stopped. It measures the axis about which to take the measurement, and it stores and graphs the measurements. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to Explore. So I tend to travel quite a bit, and when I go around, I have layovers or stopovers for a day, maybe 2 days. And what I typically do is pull out my iPhone, find some place of interest, then copy it, paste it, try and look up that information, learn more about the place. So I wanted to capture all of those functions into one app. So Explore is basically a travel planning app which uses advanced map features that lets you save locations of interest, that lets you explore further from within the app, and also has this cool feature called the Map Journal, which lets you record, basically geotag yourself, maybe add an image. So when you revisit your trips, you can look at these geotag locations and relive some of those memories. So let's start off by clicking on the Explore tab. That prompts you to enter the name of a city. And what that does is brings up places of interest in that city. When you click on one of these pins, it shows up this popover that shows you information of that place, and you can drill further into it. The first section of this table basically gives you information similar to what Google Maps gives you, but the nice thing is when you scroll down, you get the Explore Further feature, which basically searches for this place in three websites which people use the most: Wikipedia, Yelp, and Google. So clicking on one of these brings up the mobile version of Google, lets you browse from within the app, and go back to the app. Also, if you're traveling with people and you want to share this place, maybe you found it interesting, maybe you want them to go to it, you can just use the in-app email, which pre-populates an email and lets you send it to whoever you want. The other nice thing about the app is that it lets you save places. These places are sorted by city because that's what makes the most sense, because you want to know, all the interesting places that you're going to within a city. And it also saves it on the phone, so you can view it offline, and you don't have to wait for the slow 3G network to load all this data for you. Now going into the Map Journal feature. People like recording places. They take a lot of pictures, they post those pictures on Facebook, share it with people. So I wanted to make something a little more personal in which people can have a journal that they write as they travel. So when you click on the Add button, it basically brings up 2 options. You can take a picture or record the location where you are, both of which geotag. So when you select Take a Picture, it brings up your iPhone's camera and lets you add the photo, give it a title, and save it. If you said Record Location, then it basically brings up this nice, simple journal thing and lets you add a small note to yourself, which when you go back to the main view, shows a pin with the date and the location where you took it. So in conclusion, Explore is convenient, Explore is fast, and Explore is memorable. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Praveen.
And I'm Neil.
And the title of our project is GeoScribbles, which is a location-based messaging service that we made for this class.
So currently, the way people send messages that have a location-based concept attached to it is usually you'd send an email and you put in a map that tells you where that is. GeoScribbles is trying to take that process and make it very simple and straightforward. So for example, one example of this is an Evite. Which is pretty bad if you think about it. It just has a lot of information, and then you have to put in the address into MapQuest or whatever to find out what the location actually is and how you're going to get there.
So now we're going to jump into a few use cases to show you how you might use this app. One idea is that you might want to schedule a lunch meeting with a friend. So you don't want to put this in an email with a bunch of either confusing directions, a list of, well, first you turn left, then you turn right. And if you're familiar with Stanford's eateries, some locations are actually hard to describe where to go to. Instead, you can use our app, which we'll demo shortly, to schedule a reminder that'll tell you where you are and also where this meeting point is that you're going to have lunch with your friend. It'll also give you a reminder to tell you when that time is about to arrive. Okay, so here's the map that we're going to use to invite our friend to lunch. We're going to hit post and then choose a place on campus. I particularly like Thai Cafe. It's not a plug. And put a pin there. So now we'll have to find Neil on our list of contacts, which has been populated from Facebook. We will we'll add him as a recipient and send him a message. So maybe we're wanting to meet to talk about this class. So put in CS193P. And then add a message saying, hey, you want to have lunch at 12. So it'll put that on the map, and then this message will show up. And if the connection's working, my picture will show up too. Anyway, so the appointment is in the phone, and hopefully, if everything's working, Neil is going to get a reminder.
So let's say now I'm using the app. So I go on. I'm already pre-logged in because I don't want my information getting out on to iTunes U. And let's see, I'm looking around. There's nothing, so I decide to close the app and wait for something to come up. And sure enough, Praveen's message should come up. There it is. So I don't really like Praveen right now, so I'm just going to ignore it. But if I hit view, it would take me back into the application, and then we'd be good. OK, so another use case that we were looking at was getting groceries. So a lot of people find various excuses to get out of grocery shopping, especially when, let's say, an example is a husband and wife. The wife wants you to pick up groceries, and the husband has many, many excuses. OK. So now there's no more excuses, because what you can do with GeoScribbles is you can, the one party can upload a grocery list. They can take pictures of the product so that you know exactly what you're getting, and even tag a specific grocery store or just grocery stores in general. And then GeoScribbles should send you a push notification with that list. And we also want to make it so that when you get within a certain radius of the grocery store, it'll go, you should go and pick up your groceries. Someone wants you to do that. So that's one use case.
Another way that you might use this is to send someone a reminder, maybe a special person, that, hey, remember when we did this here? And so when that person walks by this location, they'll get a reminder and say, hey, we first met here on the first day of class, or something like that. Just to recap what we've talked about, push notifications tell you if you're near or if a new message has arrived using our service. And a map tells you where you are and where you should go.
And the whole point and why we came up with GeoScribbles is we wanted two things. We wanted to communicate places really well and use location more efficiently. And also, just for fun, we wanted to include pictures, and that really helps tell a story, whether it's where something is or like if you're doing something with the location and you want an actual picture of that location.
Thanks.
Hi, my name's Colin Meltzer, and I'm going to talk to you about an iPhone app called Fraction Hub. So here's the problem. Students often have difficulty understanding fractions, and fractions are important for understanding the world around us, whether it's complicated statistics or basic decimals. One of the reasons is they fail to understand the basic concept. Fractions are a part of a whole. What's the solution? Fraction Hub. It's a game where players gain an understanding of fractions by filling pizza orders. So there's sort of three main parts to it. They get to design their own pizza, they receive scaffolded instruction, and then as they make progress through the levels, they earn different toppings. Because it's fun, hands-on, they'll want to design more pizzas, and the learning continues. So let's take a look at some of the different features. Login. Why log in a game? 3 reasons. 1, allows you to save progress so the student doesn't have to do the same problems over and over again. 2, the app collects and stores data about each problem a player completes for feedback for them or a parent or teacher. And another one, this is what could happen in the future, is the app could individualize the user experience based on past performance so they don't get frustrated. Here's the main screen, but instead of me talking about it, let me show you with a live demo. All right, so here's the main screen, and we're going to do a new user, sign in as CS193. C is the password, make it nice and easy. All right, so here's the main screen. Let's look at how you play. There are 3 main sections to the screen here. There's the order, which only has 1 item, 5/7 onion right now, the blank pizza, and the possible toppings. So the first thing you do is you got to slice the pizza. You slice by swiping right. If you go too far, oops, that's 8 sections. You swipe left to get rid of 1. And then you drag the toppings right onto the sections you need. So we need 5 out of 7. That's 3, 4, 5. Now there's 2 ways to check it. You could check it by clicking the button, or you're making a pizza, so flip the thing. So flick the wrist up, and the pizza flips and says, nice job if you're right. So let's take a look at the data that collected. If you go to data, it shows you the type of problem, the fractions, the time it took, and 1 attempt. There's also high scores, which right now I didn't get onto this time, which shows the top 10 high scores. And you can email to your friends by clicking on it for bragging rights, which are always a plus. And then there's settings, which allows you to control different aspects of the sound, the volume, and choose your own background music for your iPod music library. That way, when you're making pizza, you can be listening to music at the same time. Let's make sure the volume's up. All right, 8/9 broccoli while listening to Jackson 5. Life doesn't get much better. All right. And fractions can be fun. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Molly McKinley, and I made Plate Picker, which is an interactive menu for Stanford campus. So the problem that I tried to address with this application was that deciding what to order in a restaurant can be really difficult. You have these huge menus, and you're paging through them, trying to figure out what you like, what you've ordered before, where everything is, and maybe you have some food allergies, like you're allergic to gluten, dairy, maybe you're vegetarian or kosher, and you're trying to figure out which dishes can actually apply to you, which ones you can order, but you have all this information coming at you and you don't know how to organize it. So I'm going to give you a short demo of how my application fixes these problems.
For Stanford campus, which filters menu options based on preferences and allergies so as to quickly present the most pertinent information. Plate Picker also allows you to star dishes so you can come back to them later and easily see what you've liked before. Start out with a list of restaurants. You're able to choose which one you want to enter and perhaps eat lunch at. Let's look at the Thai Cafe. Here's a list of the categories that the dishes in the Thai Cafe fall into. Let's explore drinks first. First, you can go in and choose a drink. star it, maybe for later convenience. Let's star sodas. Going back, we can also choose a main. Come in here, you look at this menu, and maybe at first it's confusing to understand, because there's a lot of options, and it's hard to figure out what you can and can't eat. And say I'm a vegetarian, so I only want to notice the vegetarian items on this menu. I could come over here in my preferences, check vegetarian. This will gray out all the dishes which aren't vegetarian, easily showing me what I can and can't eat at this restaurant. Starring vegetable sauté will also make that appear down here in my starred menu. This shows that I have 2 star dishes in the Thai cafe, soda and the vegetable sauté. They're organized by price, so I can easily see what is least expensive. Coming back here in the starred menu, I can also see a map of where this restaurant is. It's located right here in the quad. Clicking on the arrow brings me back to the 2 dishes that I've starred in it. Going back to the menu, I can continue to click around, seeing the different dishes that I've starred. Notice that my preference of vegetarian persists through all levels of the menu and in all of the different cafes. If I want to know what other people have thought of Yelp, I can come over here and click on Reviews. This queries the Yelp API to look at what a user's name was, what their rating was, when they made that rating, and what their comments were on the restaurant. I can also click on the Yelp button for more information, connecting straight to the Yelp webpage. Going back to the Thai cafe, I can also click on a map so that I can see where all of the different eateries are on campus. These, if I click on them, pop up the phone number as well in case I want to give them a call. This is also gathered from the Yelp database. Plate Picker helps you spend less time choosing what to eat and more time enjoying your restaurant experience. Plate Picker. Just because there are a lot of options for what to order in a restaurant doesn't mean you need to spend forever finding something to eat.
So a couple ideas for the future is further integration with Yelp, which allows you to review a restaurant and see other people's reviews, but also to aggregate those rankings so that you can sort dishes based on what people have liked the most at a certain restaurant. Other things could be sending in orders over Wi-Fi or integrating with food spotting to see pictures. So thank you very much. I'd like to give thanks to my friends Olivia Jackson and Isaac Rubin in my CS147 class where we came up with the idea for this application. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Bobby Georgescu, and I had some slides, but I'm just going to jump right into the demo because I'm really excited about showing you what I've been working on for the last couple of weeks. It's an app that centers around enjoying the beauty of the world around us, the color in the world around us. And my app is called World of Spectra. So I'm just going to walk you through some of the major features of this app. So let's open that up right now. So there it is, and you see that it just logged me into Game Center, but that's something I'll talk about a bit later. So for now, what I want to show you here is this interface, which is just this really colorful table. And as you scroll through these colors, you see these colors with weird names thanks to Crayola crayons, where the color names are coming from. And this app is all about how colorful the world is and collecting that color in some way, interacting with it. So it just so happens that I have a apple in my pocket. That's what the round thing in my pocket was. It's not every day that you go around with one of these, but there you go. And I want to capture its color because that's the purpose of this game. So let's see what color would work for that. Oh, look at that, Granny Smith apple. Perfect. So let's tap on that, and I get this camera interface that comes up here. And so let me go ahead and capture that and sort of zoom in here, get a nice little square of the color there, and tap Use. And what you're going to see now is how it sort of got distilled into its elementary color there, and just if you had to pick one color to represent this apple, that's probably what it would be, at least based on the algorithm I'm using right now. And as you can see, I got a score, 516. I can look at what the image was that I used, and it's a really up-close shot of the apple, as you saw me take. But what's really cool here is that I have this badge on achievements over here right now. And I can go there and see what achievement I got. And if you look closely at that, it says Johnny Appleseed, 90 points. So that's pretty fun. And that's pretty much the app in a nutshell. I can go back and see the most recent colors that I captured and the photo for that. So right now I only have one because I just deleted this app by accident. But presumably, if I were a long-time user of this, I'd have a huge collection. I can also scroll through here and see my top score in the interface, as well as the photos I've taken for a specific color, ordered by score. So I had some great help from the Apple SDKs. You know, I'm not going to read all of these because you can read, but you know, Game Center obviously played a big role. A cool language feature called Categories that lets you extend existing classes, including the built-in ones, was really useful. And just to wrap up here, you know, as far as the future of this, I'd like to hear from you. So if you have any feedback, you know, any questions about how I did something, I'd love to hear about it. And also, I'd love to stay in touch and give you updates of how the development of this goes. So check out worldofspectra.com and put your email in or send me an email. You'll find my contact there. And also, there'll be coverage on ifans.com soon about future launch plans. So thanks a lot.
Hi, I'm Alex Churchill.
And I'm Anoli Leodakis.
And we've developed Mobile Designer. So to start out, let's talk a little bit about the motivations behind this project. Because currently, a lot of architects and designers are very interested in urban planning, right? They're interested in presenting their vision for what a particular space might look like in the future. And that's what we really tried to focus on here. So an app that really lets designers capture that vision and present it well. So in the status quo, it's very difficult for these designers to actually sort of capture the vision in the moment, right? A lot of architects really enjoy going on site, finding out exactly sort of like coming there and saying, you know, oh, I'm developing in this park, going to the park and actually deciding, here's what I want here, here's what I want there. And so what we've realized and recognized is that the mobile platform actually provides an excellent opportunity for these designers to actually design on-site, and that's what we tried to develop.
So in order to create on-site mockups, we built Mobile Designer. And that's essentially what it does. It allows people to design projects. So for each project, you essentially start out with a blank project. And what this blank project can do is you choose a title for the project. All projects are obviously automatically auto-saved. And then you can do one of two things. You can either specify a width and a height, and it just creates a basic project with a gray background. Alternatively, you can choose via a map which location, either it'll automatically zoom into your current location, or you could choose a different location and use that as the map and the texture for the floor of your project. So if you are in a specific location, if you're designing a specific project on site, you simply need to choose location. It will zoom into that spot, and then you can use that texture, use that landscape when designing your project.
So once you've created your project, we make it very, very easy to edit it, to quickly mock up a design. And the way that we do this is actually by building off of the same premise that a lot of other architectural software uses, which is this 2D top-down view on the world that you're generating. And so in this view, we allow you to quickly generate sort of various basic shapes. As you can see here, it edits using touch interface in exactly the way you'd expect, much like every other app, basically for computer application for designers does. And as you can see, we've developed sort of 3 key geometric constructs that actually, as it turns out, let you develop just about anything that you want. And those 3 shapes are walls, which are essentially vertical planes fixed, and those are, of course, top-down represented as lines. You have planes, and those get represented as rectangles. And then we've added something called billboards. And what those are, they act like walls, but they also turn to face the camera at any given point in time, which, as it turns out, is very effective for modeling scenery, right? Like modeling a tree, it's excellent to just be able to choose a tree texture that will always rotate to face the camera. Great for providing mock-ups.
So now, for each of these objects, the lines, the walls, the billboards, what we do have is a shape inspector. And this essentially allows the designer to modify the shape in such a way that it gives them full editing capabilities. They can change, for example, the start and end points of a line. They can change the width and the height of a rectangle. For a billboard, they can change its radius. For all of these different shapes, they can modify additionally the color, the z-index. So for example, for a level in the 3D preview, which we'll get to in a little while, you can modify where that level appears. And additionally, we can choose textures. Now, for each texture, you simply select the texture. It takes you to the internet. From there, you choose an image, you save that texture, and then when you come back, it will have automatically saved that texture so that when you're previewing your design, that texture will have been placed on that view.
And so then the real power of this is not only is it easy to mock up, but it's also exceedingly easy. So actually, first, let's run through this design flow process to this point and show you how easy that actually is. So we can create a new project here. Quickly comes up with a name. Select our location very easily. Then when we go to the 2D editor, we can move around. We can add shapes. It's very simple to do. We can modify them essentially exactly as you'd expect. And the selecting texture process that Manoli is talking about, we'll demo in just a minute here. Right, so you can very, very quickly put a tree on this billboard, for instance.
And as soon as the texture is available, you can select it, and then it's there.
Right.
OK.
So one of the real powers of this application is that after you've developed something, you can actually, in real time, go ahead and perceive exactly what it'll look like using a 3D free motion view based on the OpenGL capabilities of the iDevices we built it on. It's very intuitive to navigate, as it turns out. It's tough from the simulator, but using a variety of different gestures, it's actually total free motion. You can move around the camera, look everywhere. It's a very powerful tool. So here are some shots of a garden that Manoli and I were developing.
Now, what's really powerful with this as well is both in the 2D editor as well as in the 3D preview view, you can take screenshots of specific things that you find interesting. So a common screenshot would be in the 2D editor just to take a picture of the editor itself. And you simply push a button. In the 3D view, any type of image that you see as you're moving around the world, if you want to take a picture of that, you simply double tap on the screen, and it takes a screenshot of that 3D view.
Now we'll talk more about where those images go in a minute, but we'd also like to point out that in the project structure, everything is just saved automatically. It's easy to load projects again. It's very intuitive in the same way that many other Mac applications do automatic project saving.
Additionally, you can also delete projects in the same way. By deleting the project, it disappears from your list, and it's very intuitive.
So additionally, beyond just creating these worlds, we also provide you a mechanism to present them effectively. And as we mentioned, when you take those screenshots, they're all compiled into something that we call the presentation playlist. And you can go in and add captions to each one of those playlist items that eventually can go into creating a very easy to demo presentation. So right away, you can very quickly capture the essence of your ideas and really demonstrate them well to parties that you want to see.
Now, after you modify in your editor all of your images, as well as put in the captions, then you go to a presentation playlist. And this presentation playlist essentially functions like a keynote presentation. You click from whichever image you want, and from there it will go to another view, which will show that image. And then by simply tapping on the screen, it will go through the images that are below that one all the way until the end, showing them like a keynote linearly.
Which turns out to be excellent, again, when you want to capture your ideas, which, as we said, was the goal of the application. So then the question is, what do we do next? And we think that we've really done a good job of demonstrating the power of the mobile platform for designers. That was our goal from the get-go, and to really demonstrate that we can really capture the essence of designs. We think that up and coming, we really want to add more power in the regions that have already been developed, which are the design apps that you see, like Google SketchUp, that already exist in the status quo, but exist for computers. And that's just building more models in OpenGL, allowing users to add and create more complicated shapes. We think that that way we really capture the mobile platform and continue to add power to this platform. We're very, very excited about it.
Yeah, as a proof of concept, it has shown those abilities. And now it's simply just going into each of these different views, modifying them, enhancing them. And simply, I guess the sky's the limit.
We're very excited for Mobile Designer. Yeah, thanks for listening to our presentation.
Hey everyone, I'm John Hellman, and my app is called GeoMem for Geographic Memory. And first of all, we have Facebook Places, so this is currently obviously in Facebook on the App Store, and you can check into your locations, and you can communicate those locations with friends. And then you have Shazam, which is completely different, and you can instantly tag music for identification purposes, and there's a single button UI, which was discussed during the iPhone talk and how good that is. So my application, GeoMem, takes both of these things into account. So it has a single remember button for keeping track of your locations, and each location object can be managed individually. So this bases around the location object. So when you click Remember Location, it goes in and geotags, and you can edit the name and description, the coordinate heading, you can look at the times visited, you can add media categories, so notifications, and it's all backed by core data. And one great feature about this that a lot of other things don't have is the categories. So you can sort through your remembered locations, and you'll never again have trouble remembering that good restaurant you went to, or whenever you're driving around trying to think of a good place to go, you can say, oh, I went to this museum, I want to go there again. And again, backed by core data. And another cool feature of this is that you can have and get notifications based on your proximity. So this uses significant location change monitoring. So when you go around and you get close to your location, you will get a notification, a local notification, regardless of whether you're in the app or not. And there's a global settings in the app for this. And there's a visual representation of the map view of the location objects in map view. And it shows your current location, and it has the most recently remembered location in purple, the notification if you got one, and you click View in green, and then the others are in red. And you can go in and filter by category. So now I'm going to demo the app. OK, so let's say we want to remember this location. We click on Remember Location, and it comes up with the pin, which is purple, because that's our current location. And let's say we want to look at satellite. So we go in, and it first, by default, puts on the latitude and longitude and the time. And you can go in and edit it. So Hewlett. And it'll change it for you. And you can add a photo and video, one that you've taken already, let's say. Good. Choose. Then it'll add it, and you can add a category. So let's say I'm in class. This isn't. OK, I'm driving. And you can add a notification there. And if you need to, you can relocate it. So the problem is that if, for some reason, I have this set on best, and the best location isn't exactly that accurate, the pin might drop in a different location than you want. So you can go back to the location and click Relocate to current location. Sure, we can. And then you can always delete the location. And then it shows up on the map view. And you can filter just by category. And also, you can go back and just view the map when you're offline. And you can go in and, again, filter. And you can also look at just the categories. So let's say I want to look at driving, which is what I did, Hewlett, and then there's the event. So that's GeoMem. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nick Levaster, and I created a game called Wind Racer. Wind Racer is a sailboat racing game in which the player can build and customize a boat to race against their friends. So it's built on top of a core data model, which can be updated via JSON format. So presumably, there could be a web server that would send updates to the model, add new components and things that the user could use in the game. So I'm going to narrate a video demo here. This is the first thing you see. You see we've logged into Game Center. Clicking to add a new boat. There's a hull, a mast, a rudder, boom, some common boat components. I've used a rotated table view to implement a sliding motion. So then the player can click on an item. They can choose to buy it if they don't have it already. So I'm buying some components here to create a full boat. You need a full boat to race. Now, if you already have a component, you can choose to sell it, as I did there. Then you could buy new pieces. You can see I didn't have a lot of time to work on the images, so they aren't all representative of the actual parts. You can rename your boat, as I'm doing here. Now, once you've got your boat, you probably want to race it. So I can't show you the multiplayer here because I didn't have a way to do a video demo of those. So there's a single player version that I'm going to show you now. This was just to demonstrate persistence via the core data. So you can see, click on it again, log back into Game Center, and all your information is still there. So we're about to race. Oh, Okay, now we're racing. As I said, this is single player. The objective of the game is to reach the objective, which is pointed out by the yellow marker. And the longer you can stay within that objective, the more points you rack up. So that kind of gives you incentive to upgrade your boat. Maybe you'll have a more agile boat if your parts permit that. So just racking up some points. When the game ends, there will be a screen just presenting some stats. You can see your previous best score and how many points you scored that time. And those get uploaded to a leaderboard. So you can go check the leaderboard. First, I'm showing you, though, the multiplayer initiation, which doesn't work in the simulator. And here are the leaderboards. There's 2 leaderboards. One keeps track of how much money you've earned, who's the wealthiest player in the game. And the last leaderboard is who got the most points during a single match. So that's it.
All right, hi everyone. My name is Andrew Belay, and the app I made is called My Ninjas. My Ninjas is an app for the iPad when the use case is for when you forget who the random person is you just ran into on the street. So we've all had that experience where you run into someone at the cafe and you didn't expect to see them. There they are, you have no clue what their name is. You know you should remember them. You worked with them for a month on that project. You've forgotten what the circumstances were, and you're horribly embarrassed, and they know it. So I sat down and tried to solve this problem in 2 ways. The first way is for a planned meeting. So for example, say you know you're going to be meeting with Aisling. So you can sit here and go through her Facebook profile. So it just pulled in all the data, as you saw, and it's now stored in core data. And you can review her Facebook profile and see her newest updates. So here at the bottom, I've pulled in just the Facebook links. I could pull in photos and status updates and stuff like that. But I've just pulled in the links here. You can store a note here on the side if you wanted to, and you can see how the keyboard comes up, so to only cover sort of parts of the screen that aren't very helpful. Then you could type in a note and leave it in core data. I've also implemented gestures here. So if I want to scroll to the next person's profile, I can check out Austin's profile, who presented at the beginning of class. And again, sort of using this scroll view at the bottom, see what he's been up to. I could set a reminder for his birthday if I wanted, August 3rd. And if there's so much data pulled in from his Facebook, I set a little scroll view up here. But what about when you don't know you're going to run into someone? What should you do? Well, here I've made a game mode. And now it's just pulled in 16 of your random friends from Facebook. And you play the game by first selecting their name or selecting a photo. And then once you have a match, the photo fades away and disappears, and so does the name. So you can do this. And there's supposed to be sound, but there's not. So there's a little sound gets played whenever you have. Yeah, it is plugged in. Anyway, it's not me. Yeah, it's up. Anyway, there's a little sound that says, congratulations, you matched this person. So what about after you've sort of played the game? What if you want a new set? Well, you give the iPad a hearty little shake. Not a good enough shake, I guess. There we go. And it's going to pull in a new list of people. And then also, if you want to review the same people that you've just done because you didn't do such a good job, you can flip the app backwards and forwards, and it will just reload the current list of people. Sort of a la Guess Who, if everyone remembers that game. So future things to implement on the app are, first of all, I want to clean up this table view and add a lot more metadata to the right side. So I know this looks sort of awful, but there's a lot more data to pull in and add there. And the other thing I want to do is sort of split the app in half. I think it's really a productivity tool. And so I want to pull in LinkedIn data instead of Facebook data. And the reason there is this is probably more of a business tool. I don't think a lot of us have trouble remembering our friends that we want to follow on Facebook. So I don't really want to duplicate Facebook, just use Facebook. But where this could be really helpful is when you have a meeting with someone and you do want to take notes and you do want to document where you are. So I have core location built in. I just don't have it implemented fully. So you could drop a pin on the map and say, hey, this is where we met and had coffee and we talked about X, Y, Z. And maybe even the feature to set up like a future date. So that's My Ninjas, a way to help you remember the people you often forget.
Hey everybody, my name's Sam Oluwalana, and I'm going to demonstrate my project called iStudy. What it is a a way to help you keep your cards in, like, without having to have a huge stack of flashcards. Because, you know, when I study, I always have thousands of cards, and they're everywhere, and they always get lost, and I'm never able to keep track of everything I have. And it's never always, and they always get mixed in together. So I have like multiple things for, say I have a class of CS193, and I'm going to study for that, or I'm studying for CS161. The cards sometimes get interweaved and stuff. So we don't like that. So I just got a way to take care of that, and I'll just demonstrate that right now. All right, so first we're going to create a new set. So let's just type in the title, and then make a description for it, and go to the first card. So on the first card, we can add ourselves some text. And let's say we don't like the way that looks. So we can go to edit it. We can change the color of it, change the font, give a different size to it, put a border on the box, and then have that display. We can add an image. So let's say I want to put my Stanford ID on that. We can use that. And then it displays that. Put it on wrong though, unfortunately. You can go to the next card, add some more stuff. You can do the back side of the card and just add some stuff there. Then you can save the set. And now you have a brand new set to study called text, or no, C. And then you have your cards right there, displayed correctly that time, front and back, and you can just go forward and backwards and study your flashcards. And that's my solution to messy flashcard sets. Thank you very much.
Okay, so that is it for CS193P. Happy holidays to everyone, and incredible job today. And for those of you who have been watching on iTunes U all of quarter, I hope you enjoyed the class and also enjoyed these final projects. And we'll see you in the future. Bye-bye, everybody.
For more, please visit us at stanford.edu.